Oh shit, I fucked up my microphone settings. Hang on. Alright, that'll do you. That's your intro slate done. I hope you've enjoyed that picture and the waves. Hello, I'm Sam Grant, and that... Where's my hand? That's Andy. Say hello, Andy.
I'm glad you were pointing. There was a bit long build up there. I was a bit worried you weren't referring to me, and I was just waving
I
like a
couldn't find
fool.
my own hands.
That's a good start. It's
It
a good
is, isn't
start for
it?
the person doing all the typing.
Fuck's sake, I hate doing the typing so much. I don't think I've ever talked to you about my keyboard, but I brought like a joke keyboard with all the buttons in the wrong place, and that's my excuse for everything coming out wrong and why I spell everything wrong all the time.
Did
It's
you
not
just
my
pick one
fault.
from like a random European nation?
There was
With
this
all of the
guy.
different...
There was a bunch of guys in this really small car who turned up, and like they sprayed some water in my face out of a flower, and then just gave me this keyboard.
And then all 30 of them piled back into the car and drove away.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened, but it was nice of him to give me that keyboard and also make me laugh a little bit. Not too much though. It was weird. Like too much reliance on physical comedy. You know, there wasn't that much cerebral activity in their act.
I mean, fear can make you laugh too, I guess. So there's that
It can.
aspect. Yeah.
It really can. That's why. That's why people go to stand-up gigs and sit at the front. They just love people making fun of them. What is that about? Ah, shit, yeah. An
Speaking of
early Freddy visit.
frightening creatures, yeah.
There he
All
is.
this time.
Hello. And it's a hello from Freddy as well. You can see the screen. He's having a wonderful day. Alright, cool. So, for anyone who may be unfamiliar, but somehow has found this maybe decades from now on some server after the apocalypse, we'll just give you a little rundown of what this is going to be about. Back in the day, about 80, I don't know what year, a long time ago, there was a fella called Herman Melville who made a book about going and killing whales. And a lot of people quite like it. Me, I think it's quite hard to read, and a lot of people agree, which is why we're coming in to fix it and make it much more understandable for a modern audience with modern sensibilities. And so far in this story, we should have to do a little bit of a recap and tell you where we're at. But first we have to settle a little debate, and that's going to be who has to do the recap.
Oh, yes.
I've actually got a coin this time. I went and bought.
Oh, I got a coin as well.
Oh, we got some Nepalese tiffin, which is like curry, and I spent it was £14, and I gave him £15, and that means I've got £1. That's maths.
What?
So I've got a little pound coin. Do you want heads or tails, Andy?
I'd like heads, please.
All right, go on then.
Wait, hang on a sec. Is heads mean I have to do it, or heads mean I
You
don't?
decide. I'm not going to tell you the answer till you decide.
Heads means I don't have to do it.
Well, congratulate. Wait, heads means you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it was tails, so that means you have to do it.
Oh.
That's the rules, right? If you like, I can do it anyway, though.
I think you volunteered. I think you took the bullet last time.
Yeah, but you did like 5 in a row before that.
It's okay. I mean, I don't want to anger the gods of fate.
Who does? Maybe we'll find out this chapter.
I did watch Blade for the first time.
Oh, it's such a good film.
It's so good. So I'm a bit worried that a lot of my memory of Moby Dick and a lot of my memory of Blade are going to combine. So I do distinctly remember a bit where Ishmael looks like just past the camera and says, "Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill."
And kicks a dart into What's his? It wasn't Ethan Hawke's forehead, was it? It was some Stephen Dorff. Was that the
But
actor?
it is a guy who I
He
would
looks
have
a lot like
thought
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
They're just 90s. They're
He's a
90s in a
Hawke-like.
bottle.
All right, it's time for you to
Okay.
do a little recap. So you've got 1 minute 59 on this track. So
Okay.
you don't need to use all of it, but you must not go beyond it. I would like you to begin,
Okay.
Andy, in 3, 2, 1.
We joined our main character Ishmael as he was deciding that he'd spent too much time on shore and it was time to get back to sea again because he was turning violent towards people's hats. In order to get to sea, he needed to make his way to Nantucket because, for reasons best known to himself, seriously, he hasn't shared them with us.
No.
He wants to join a whaling ship specifically.
Someone told him it was cool.
Yeah, that's
That's all you
that's
get.
Ishmael. Anyway, on his way there, he had to stop over in New Bedford to catch a little ship there. And while he was there, he met his new best friend, Queequeg, when they were bunkmates in the worst inn in the world. They're fast friends. They've set sail, made their way to Nantucket, eaten some chowder, made some jokes, which we all enjoyed, I think, all of Ishmael's
We
jokes.
all appreciated them. Just classic best friend activities.
And in the latest chapter, Ishmael had just gone to a whaling ship, to talk to the two captains, neither of which are actually going to be on the ship when it sails. And the two captains had a huge argument over how much they should pay Ishmael.
They really did.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that was, I think, where we left it.
And I'll tell you what, Andy, we didn't do a read-through of the chapter last time, did we?
We didn't,
We skipped it.
because
So maybe we should just open with that.
maybe we should start. With,
Let's do it. Because
Okay.
I reckon that this chapter coming up is a little bit short. So I'm trying to pace this so that I'm going to say that we're going to read it at the end of this track, but I've got like another 10 seconds, not that much more to say. So I will just pad that much, and I will say, let's do the recap right now. I still
Right.
fucked up. I was like a second off. Also, they clipped out that track wrong. It should have faded out or something. I'm really pissed off about that. Anyway. So let me scoot on back, because it was a bloody long chapter. Oh, let me put on Ocean
Are we going to do
Waves
the
as
whole
well.
thing or just the half that we did last time?
What do you fancy?
I'm easy. There's a lot
I-
of dialogue, so it depends how much your voice can take.
I reckon we do the whole thing,
Okay.
because it
Let's
was an
do that.
intense little segment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have you got it up? Sexy
I
rude
do.
joke.
Oh, that's good. That's a good time to start this.
All right.
Okay.
If you open, and then when there's an uncomfortable pause, we'll just hand over to the next one.
Okay. Yeah. Chapter 16. The ship. In bed, we made our plans for the next day, the day of getting on a ship. Queequeg and me and Yojo had a big chat about our strategy for choosing a ship. Yojo, by the way, is the name of Queequeg's little god figurine guy, and apparently he talked sometimes, and this was one of the times where this would be a factor. Yojo said, "I don't want to pick a ship," and me and Queequeg were a bit surprised about that. "I don't want to pick a ship," he said again. "I decided we'd all be friends. Why do I have to make all the decisions, Ishmael? You pick the ship. That's why I brought you here. It's all according to my plan." Now, I don't know if this actually happened or if I'm making it up. There's a lot of things I'm hazy on, but whether it's real or a fabrication, it's quite a nice thought that an entire little weird god statue can put so much trust in someone like me.
More Yojo facts. Queequeg was a big fan of Yojo. You'd have to be really if you were going to worship it and all that stuff. But even then, Queequeg wouldn't try and pretend that Yojo was super powerful or anything like that. Yojo was just a nice little guy who had some good ideas and wasn't really into doing things in a flashy or entirely effective kind of way. I wasn't keen on this plan, but I went along with it anyway. Queequeg and Yojo were doing some kind of religious thing where they didn't eat for a bit, so I just left them to it, and I went out to find us a ship. The ships were named as follows: Devil Dam, Titbit, and Pequod. None of these names inspired a whole lot of enthusiasm in me, so I ran around the dock asking everyone questions and just looking at things. Eventually I decided on the Pequod for reasons I shall not go into here. Pequod fact. Pequod was named after some extinct tribe from Massachusetts. Emma's just rejoined the chat. That makes a noise when you do that.
Sorry.
It's alright. Over to Andy.
I'm not saying I based my decision entirely on looks, but if I did, I'd still have chosen the Pequod. It was a really old ship. You remember how I was able to tell where sailors had been from the smells and tans on their faces? Well, I can do that with ships too, and this one had been everywhere. So that was a pretty strong opener. But you know what else it had? Bones. Bones and bones and bones. You could tell it had killed a lot of whales, because there was a lot of whale bones stuck to the thing. It looked like some kind of sea skeleton swimming around and grasping at whales, except it didn't have skeleton hands. That was what the harpoons were for. Most people, you ask them what colour a ship is supposed to be, and they'll say, brown, because of all the wood. And usually they'd be right, but this wasn't a usual kind of ship. Lots of bones. Ominous, really. No bones about it.
It was a noble craft, but somehow melancholy. All noble things are touched with that. Melancholy, if you think about it. I had a look around for the boss or someone boss adjacent, and I didn't see anyone who fit the description. But I did see a bone tent. A skin and bone tent, with a guy in it, with skin and bones all his own. And what was he sitting on? That's right, bones! Carved bones. Fancy. The guy in the bone tent was tanned like a real sailor. But not just tanned. He had the truest, most sailor-esque wrinkles you could imagine. The kind of wrinkles that you get around the eyes if you keep squinting into the wind too much. The kind of wrinkles that make scowling look really good. "Is this the captain of the Pequod?" said I, advancing to the door of the tent.
"Supposing it be the captain of the Pequod, what dost thou want of him?" he demanded.
I was thinking of shipping.
"Thou wast thou? I see thou art no Nantucketer. Ever been in a stove boat?"
No, sir, I never have.
"Dost thou know nothing at all about whaling, I dare say, eh?"
Nothing, sir, but I have no doubt I shall soon learn. I've been several voyages in the merchant service, and I think that...
"Merchant service be damned! Talk not that lingo to me. Dost see that leg? I'll take that leg away from thy stern if thou ever talkest of the merchant service to me again. Merchant service indeed! I suppose now ye feel considerable proud of having served in these merchant ships. But flukes, man, what makes thee want to go a whaling, eh? It looks a little suspicious, don't it, eh? Hast thou not been a pirate, hast thou? Didst thou rob thy last captain, didst thou? Dost thou not think of murdering the officers when you gettest to sea?"
I protested my innocence of these things. I saw that under the mask of these half-humorous innuendos, this old seaman, as an insulated Quakerish Nantucketer, was full of his insular prejudices, and rather distrustful of all aliens, unless they hailed from Cape Cod or the Vineyard.
"But what takes thee a whaling? I want to know that before I think of shipping ye."
Well, sir, I want to see what whaling is. I want to see the world.
"Want to see what whaling is, eh? Have ye ever clapped eye on Captain Ahab?"
Who's Captain Ahab, sir?
I thought so. Captain Ahab is the captain of this ship.
I am mistaken, then. I thought I was speaking to the captain himself.
"Thou art speaking to Captain P-Leg. That's who ye're speaking to, young man. It belongs to me and Captainbildad to see the Pequod fitted out for the voyage and supplied with all her needs, including crew. We're part owners and agents, but as I was going to say, If thou wantest to know what whaling is, as thou tellest ye do, I can put ye in a way of finding it out afore ye bind yourself to it, past backing out. Clap eye on Captain Ahab, young man, and thou wilt find that he has only one leg.
Do you mean, sir, was the other one lost by a whale?
Lost by a whale? Young man, come nearer to me. It was devoured, chewed up, crunched by the monstrousest barmacetti that ever chipped a boat. Ah! Ah!
I was a little alarmed by his energy. Perhaps also a little touched at the hearty grief in his concluding exclamation. Yeah, that was what it was.
Yeah.
But said as calmly as I could, "What you say is no doubt true enough, sir, but how could I know there was any particular ferocity in that particular whale? Though indeed I might have inferred as much from the simple fact of the accident."
Look ye now, young man. Thy lungs are a sort of soft, d'ye see? Thou dost not talk shark a bit. Sure you've been to sea before now. Sure of that?
"Sir," said I thought I told you I'd been for...
Hold down of that! Mind what I said about the merchant service! Don't aggravate me, I won't have it! But let us understand each other. I have given thee a hint about what whaling is. Do ye yet feel inclined for it?
"I do, sir."
Very good. Now, art thou the man to pitch a harpoon down a live whale's throat and then jump after it? Answer quick.
"Oh, I am, sir, if it should be positively indispensable to do so, not to be got rid of, that is, which I don't take to be the fact."
Good again. Now then, thou not only wantest to go a-whaling to find out by experience what whaling is, but ye also want to go in order to see the world. Was not that what ye said? I thought so. Well then, just step forward there and take a peep over the weather bow, and then back to me and tell me what you see there.
For a moment I stood a little puzzled by this curious request, not knowing exactly how to take it, whether humorously or in earnest. But concentrating all his crow's feet into one scowl, Captain P-Leg started me on the errand. Going forward and glancing over the weather bow, I perceived that the ship swinging to her anchor with a flood tide was now obliquely pointing towards the open ocean. The prospect was unlimited, but exceedingly monotonous and forbidding. Not the slightest variety that I could see.
Well, what's the report?
Said Peleg when I came back.
What do you see?
"Not much," I replied. "Nothing but water. Considerable horizon, though, and there's a squall coming up, I think."
Well, what dost thou think then of seeing the world? Do ye wish to go around Cape Horn to see any more of it, eh? Can't ye see the world where ye stand?
I was a little staggered, but go a-whaling I must, and I would. And the Pequod was as good a ship as any. I thought best. And all this now I repeated to P-Leg. Seeing me so determined, he expressed his willingness to ship me.
And thou mayest as well sign the papers right off,
He added.
Come along with ye.
And so saying, he led the way below deck into the cabin. In the shadowy innards of the ship, we found Captainbildad, who was huge, physically and in terms of the stake he held in the ship. Turns out everyone on Nantucket invested in ships. It was the same thing to them as all that stocks and share stuff that people in suits do, but more nautical, and therefore more interesting to me. Bildad was a Quaker. Peleg also was a Quaker. Lots of Quakers on Nantucket, but not normal boring Quakers. These guys were nuts. These were the most sanguinary, which means bloody, of all Quakers and whale hunters. They are fighting Quakers. They are Quakers with a vengeance. I could go on and on about all the different flavours of Quaker, but this type, the Nantucket variety, really don't mix with outsiders too much. You can tell because they say things like thee and thou.
But not all Quakers are the same. Take Bildad and Peleg, for instance. Like Captain Peleg, Captainbildad was well-to-do, a well-to-do retired whaleman. But while Peleg was generally happy to sit around doing nothing and being nice to people with no rush or intensity, Bildad was all business. Here was a guy who's been on ships all his life and has looked up all manner of unclothed...
Oh, sorry, it should be a pun.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's weird.
Just going through his books.
Yeah. He has looked upon all manner of unclothed creatures. Such wondrous animals this man must have seen, and still had every scruple he was born with. Educated in big, fancy, serious Quaker schools, Bildad had gone from being a little sailor boy in tiny clothes up to being a big, sexy harpoon guy with nicer clothes, and all the way from there up to being a captain with amazing clothes, and from there, a boat owner. What a guy!
A nice guy, too, if you're human. While his Quakerisms might make him the most pleasant fella you could hope to meet if you got human blood in you, if you're more of the Whaley persuasion, this was a guy who was going to get your blood out of you by any means necessary. The blood, gore, eyeballs, you have it, he'll spill it. Guy was a maniac to whales.
Also, actually, it turned out he was a bit of a maniac to his sons, too. So take that in stride. They call him... They called him an old hunk, but not in a sexy way. In a quite mean way, which is confusing to some people who aren't proper sailors like me. They say he never swears, at least not to his crew. But still, he manages to get every single man aboard overworked to the point that they would need dragging to hospitals as soon as his ship had docked. They'd say he'd got some kind of look he fixes on you that just makes you go, oh, bloody hell, I'm not a fan of this sensation. And then you just go into some kind of working frenzy. You grab what you can and look busy, or he'll just keep looking at you like a reverse Medusa. That's an excellent paragraph.
Can't imagine what it'd be like to have someone staring at you like that. Probably muttering under their breath while they do it. I forgot to write breath. But while he was all business in what he expected out of other people, he was consistent in that his body itself was also all business. The man didn't have a single atom on his body that wasn't 100% necessary for it to function at the most basic level. No superfluous beard, no big muscles, no big belly, just those scary eyes and the bones that held them up at eye level. We went to go see him. He was wearing glasses and reading a book.
Bildad!
Cried Captain Peleg.
At it again, Bildad, eh? Ye have been studying those scriptures now for the last 30 years, to my certain knowledge. How far ye got, Bildad?
As if he was used to his old pal ribbing him, Bildad ignored the jibe, quietly looked up, and seeing me, lifted one eyebrow and glared at Peleg.
Sees he's our man, Bildad,
said Peleg.
He wants to ship.
Dost thee, said Bildad in a hollow tone, and turning round to me. I dost. Sorry, you go. It's just the best line.
No, you take it.
I dost, said I unconsciously. He was so intense, a Quaker.
What do you think of him, Bildad?
Said Peleg.
He'll do, said Bildad, eyeing me, and then went on spelling away at his book in a mumbling tone. You don't know, I just need to blow my nose.
I thought Bildad was a pretty weird guy. Considering his friend Peleg was so chatty, he was just happy to sit there ignoring me while his friend got out all the paperwork it would take to make a whaleman of me. It was time to negotiate. I'd done some research and discovered that whalers didn't get like a salary or a day rate or anything like that. They all got a share of the profits, and I would have to figure out what my share would be. I'd never been a whaling before, but on the other hand, I was good at boats, knowing all about ropes and sails and steering ships with the big wheel and all that other stuff. So I think it's probably fair if I got 0.3% of the proceeds, which sounded good enough to old Ishmael. That'll get me a new set of clothes for when these ones rot off my body, and it'd cover my beef and board for however many years this expedition was going to take. Some people might think this was a pretty bad deal, and they'd be right. It was a horrible deal. A horrible idea if you're some kind of materialistic dickhead, which I was and still am not.
What? As a suspenseful end to that sentence. I'm the kind of guy who's just happy to be part of the group, you know? Give me a bed to sleep on and I'll sleep on it. Don't worry about asking me to do weird stuff in exchange. I'm easy. And I knew that realistically I was going to get a bit more than that amount because I had pretty big shoulders. And I know captains like that.
But then I had heard a thing or two about these guys. People said there were vague suggestions that they might not be super nice, and I thought about this while Bildad blanked me and read his Bible, and Peleg tried his best to sharpen a pen with a knife. I didn't have much else to do but get paranoid. You know how it is. I think you can be Bildad. Oh wait, this is Peleg. Never mind.
Well, Captainbildad, interrupted Peleg, what do you say? What lay shall we give this young man?
Thou knowest best, was the grave-like reply. The 777th wouldn't be too much, would it? He added outrageously before mumbling some Bible stories. Oh, sorry, you go.
Okay. 1 out of 777? That was only 0.12%. What the fuck? This kind of con might have worked on some idiot farm boy, but I knew boats and I also knew numbers. For example, while 777 sounds like a big number, it's actually a fraction, so it's less than a real number. It's fake, it's an extrapolation. 777 might have a certain ring to it with all those syllables, but when you whack a teeth on the end there, you're losing out, buddy. To reiterate, 777th part of a gold doubloon is a good deal less than 777 gold doubloons themselves. That's a maths fact.
Why, blast your eyes, Bildad! Cried Peleg. Thou dost not want to swindle this young man. He must have more than that.
777th, again said Bildad without lifting his eyes, and then went on mumbling, For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
I'm going to put him down for the 300th, said Peleg. Do you hear that, Bildad? The 300th lay, I say!
Bildad laid down his book and, turning solemnly towards him, said, Captain Peleg, thou hast a generous heart, but thou must consider the duty thou owest to the other owners of this ship, widows and orphans, many of them, and that if we too abundantly reward the labors of this young man, we may be taking the bread from those widows and those orphans. The 777th lay, Captain Peleg.
No, Bildad!
Roared Peleg, starting up and clattering about the cabin.
Blast ye, Captain Bildad! If I had followed thy advice in these matters, I would have for now had a conscience to lug about that I would be heavy enough to founder the largest ship that ever sailed around Cape Horn!
Captain Peleg, said Bildad steadily, thy conscience may be drawing 10 inches of water or 10 fathoms, I can't tell. But as thou art still an impenitent man, Captain Peleg, I greatly fear lest thy conscience be but a leaky one, and will in the end sink thee foundering down to the fiery pit, Captain Peleg.
Fiery pit! Fiery pit! Ye insult me, man! Past all natural bearing ye insult me. It's an all-fired outrage to tell any human creature he's bound to hell. Flukes and flames, Bildad, say that again to me, and start my soul bolts, but I'll swallow a live goat with all his hair and horns on. Out of the cabin, ye canting, drab-coloured son of a wooden gun! A straight wake with ye!
Peleg charged at Bildad with the full intent to do him some harm, but Bildad was wiry and quick and dodged out of the rampaging other captain's path. Peleg screamed and turned round ready for another try, and I was thinking, oh wow, this looks really bad for them, to be honest. I'd be so embarrassed. This is very unprofessional. And I was expecting Bildad to keep on getting out of there because Peleg was still very much on the warpath.
And then he wasn't. Like a lamb, he sat down next to his co-captain and blew out a big sigh. They must tussle like this all the time. Whoo! Sorry, that needs to be like a pirate voice.
Oh,
He whistled at last.
the squall's gone off to leeward, I think, Bildad. Thou used to be good at sharpening a lance. Mend that pen, will ye? My jackknife here needs the grindstone. That's he. Thank ye, Bildad. Now then, my young man, Ishmael's thy name, didn't ye say? Well then, down ye go here, Ishmael, for the 300th lay.
0.3%. That was the offer. Captain Peleg, said I have a friend with me who wants the ship too. Shall I bring him down tomorrow?
To be sure, said Peleg. Fetch him along and we'll look at him.
What lay does he want? Groaned Bildad, glancing up from the book in which he had again been burying himself.
Oh, never thee mind about that, Bildad, said Peleg. Has he ever whaled it any?
Turning to me.
Killed more whales than I can count, Captain Peleg.
Well, bring him along then.
And after signing the papers, off I went, nothing doubting but that I had done a good morning's work, that the Pequod was the identical ship that Yojo had provided to carry Queequeg and me round the Cape. But there was one captain-shaped hole in this puzzle I had been building. Who was Captain Ahab? It wasn't unusual not me to catch ship's captain before going off to sea, what with captains having families and whatever, sure, and not being ones to get involved with the more manual tasks on a ship. But still, I wanted to meet the guy who was going to be screaming at me for the next few years. So I asked Peleg where I could find him.
And what?
Now this is weird because actually he'd been telling him to go and look at Ahab before. And I was
Yeah.
like,
And what dost thou want of Captain Ahab? It's all right enough thou art shipped.
Yes, but I should like to see him.
But I don't think thou wilt be able to at present. I don't know exactly what's the matter with him, but he keeps close inside the house, a sort of sick. And yet he don't look so. In fact, he ain't sick. But no, he ain't well either. Anyhow, young man, he won't always see me, so I don't suppose he will thee. He's a queer man, Captain Ahab, so some think, but a good one. Oh, thou'lt like him well enough, no fear, no fear. He's a grand, ungodly, godlike man, Captain Ahab. Don't speak much, but when he does speak, then you may well listen. Mark ye, be forewarned, Ahab's above the common. Ahab's been in colleges, as well as among the cannibals, been used to deeper wonders than the waves, fixed his fiery lance in mightier, stranger foes than whales. His lance, aye, the keenest and surest that out of all our isle. Oh, he ain't Captainbildad, no, and he ain't Captain Peleg. He's Ahab, boy, and Ahab of old, thou knowest, was crowned a king.
And a very vile one. When that wicked king was slain, the dogs, did they not lick his blood?
Come hither to me, hither, hither,
said Peleg, with a significance in his eye that almost startled me.
Look ye, lad, never say that on board the Pequod, never say it anywhere. Captain Ahab did not name himself. 'Twas a foolish, ignorant whim of his crazy widowed mother, who died when he was only a 12-month-old. And yet perhaps other fools like her may tell thee the same.
Oh, I skipped a bit.
Yeah.
12-month-old, and yet the old squaw Tistig at Gayhead said that the name would somehow prove prophetic, and perhaps other fools like her may tell thee the same. I wish to warn thee, it's a lie. I know Captain Ahab well. I've sailed with him as mate years ago. I know what he is. A good man. Not a pious good man like Bildad, but a swearing good man. Something like me. Only there's a good deal more of him. I know that he was never very jolly.
Sounds Swedish. Never very jolly. That'd be jolly, wouldn't it?
And I know that on the passage home he was a little out of his mind for a spell, but it was the sharpshooting pains in his bleeding leg stump that brought that about. As anyone might see, I know, too, that ever since he lost his leg last voyage by that accursed whale, he's been a kind of moody, desperate moody, and savage sometimes. But that will all pass off, and once for all, let me tell thee and assure thee, young man, it's better to sail with a moody good captain than a laughing bad one. So goodbye to thee, and wrong not Captain Ahab, because he happens to have a wicked name. Besides, my boy, he has a wife, not 3 voyages wedded. A sweet, resigned girl. Think of that. By that sweet girl, that old man has a child.
That just sounds gross.
Hold ye then that there can be any utter hopeless harm in Ahab? No, no, my lad. Stricken, blasted if he be, Ahab has his humanities.
I wasn't sure what to make of all that, but there was something happening in my brain at any rate. What an excellent chapter.
Wow. Okay. Moving on to Chapter 17, The Ramadan.
Do we want to go with the Ramadan, do we reckon?
We'll see what it actually is, because I have questions as of the first line.
Okay, should I start this one?
I would like you to, because my throat hurts.
Oh, okay. Chapter 17, The Ramadan. As Queequeg's Ramadan, or fasting and humiliation, was to continue all day, I did not choose to disturb him till towards nightfall, for I cherished the greatest respect towards everybody's religious obligations, never mind how comical, and could not find it in my heart to undervalue even a congregation of ants worshipping a toadstool.
Sounds cool.
All those other creatures, yeah, that's rad. All those other creatures in certain parts of our earth who, with a degree of footmanism quite unprecedented in other planets, bow down before the torso of a deceased landed proprietor merely on account of the inordinate possessions yet owned and rented in his name.
Okay, I was on board up until the degree of footmanism.
A degree of footmanism quite unprecedented in the planet. Bow down
Torso
before the
of a
torso of a deceased landed proprietor merely on account of the inordinate possessions yet owned and rented in his name. What? I can't tell if he's saying that, like, people are like, if some rich guy dies, all these people kind of, bow down and kind of make like they're sad about it, and I don't make fun of that. Or if he's saying, if it's like he's inferring that they're robbing this deceased person's possessions. But then I think it would be footpad rather than foot.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think I know how I'm going to break this down.
Just get rid of it.
What? No. Queequeg was set to be busy with all his weird religious stuff for the rest of the day. I didn't really understand it, but in my book, you don't make fun of other people's religions. Even if they're fucking ridiculous. You point out to me that there's a bunch of ants worshipping a toadstool? And you expect me to laugh? No, I will not, you bigot. Those ants are pretty cool. Even if I don't know what the hell is going on. That's their deal. Camel cat type. Alright, and then he gets to... I mean, yeah, that's just it.
I think that's it.
But that's why he
covered.
didn't disturb Queequeg. That's the main one.
Yeah.
So anyway, I left Queequeg to it while I thought about ants.
I've just scanned ahead, so I'm cheating a bit here. But how long do you think Ishmael can actually respectfully give Queequeg some distance?
20 minutes.
Let's take some bets. Take some bets in chat.
Oh, is it actually 45 seconds?
Let's see.
Okay. I say we good Presbyterian Christians should be charitable in these things and not fancy ourselves so vastly superior to other mortals, pagans and whatnot. Because of their half-crazy conceits on these subjects, there was Queequeg, now certainly entertaining the most absurd notions about Yojo and his Ramadan. But what about it? Queequeg thought he knew what he was about, I suppose. He seemed to be content. And there let him rest. All our arguing with him would not avail. Let him be, I say, and heaven have mercy on us all, Presbyterians and pagans alike, for we are all somehow dreadfully cracked about the head, and sadly need mending. All right.
It's another one of those instances where it drifts into feeling like you've written it already, or it says, Queequeg thought he knew what he was about, I suppose. It's like, did we do that?
Yeah, I thought about ants.
Oh, Emma asks, is Ishmael almost being reasonable here?
He is
What-
almost. He's always reasonable. He's just also a dickhead.
Yeah.
We Presbyterians? I'm sure I spelled that wrong.
We
But-
Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
no one knows
We
what that is.
Christians.
We Christians tend to get a bad rap for acting like we know more than the less informed people of the world.
That's more Ishmael.
Yeah.
But it's no harm to leave people to it. You know? Queequeg might be having some weird delusion about Yojo and how not eating is good for you. Or something like that. But when you take the long view, an intelligent man's perspective, you learn to see that at the end of the day, in one way or another, we are all cracked about the head. Yeah. We're all somehow dreadfully cracked about the head and sadly need mending.
Excellent.
You know?
That's what it was missing.
Okay.
Towards evening, when I felt assured that all his performances and rituals must be over, I went up to his room and knocked at the door, but no answer. I tried to open it, but it was fastened inside. Queequeg, said I softly through the keyhole, all silent. I say, Queequeg, why don't you speak? It's I, Ishmael. But all remained still as before. I began to grow alarmed. I had allowed him such abundant time. I thought he might have had an apoplectic fit. I looked through the keyhole, but the door, opening into an odd corner of the room, the keyhole prospect was but a crooked and sinister one. I could only see part of the footboard of the bed and a line of the wall, but nothing more. I was surprised to behold, resting against the wall of the wooden shaft of Queequeg's harpoon, which the landlady the evening previous had taken from him, before our mounting to the chamber. That's strange, thought I. But at any rate, since the harpoon stands yonder, and he seldom or never goes abroad without it, therefore he must be inside here, and no possible mistake.
Okay, this one all seems pretty straightforward to me. So let's get that speech. We'll just copy paste that. And then we'll frame it in a more concise way, even though it was basically already perfect. Cool. That evening, I figured he must have been finished with whatever this thing was about. So I went to go and see him. The door... I need something else before I say the door was locked.
Oh.
It just doesn't seem right. Yeah. Okay. I pushed at the door, but it was locked. He'd locked himself inside.
Away from his old pal, Ishmael.
I knocked, but he didn't answer. So I put my lips to the keyhole and what's a weird way of saying that he spoke through it?
Blew out these words.
And blew my words through it. Queequeg. Let's get rid of that all silent part. I say Queequeg, it's me, Ishmael. There was no reply. I swapped my lips for my eyeball and tried looking through instead of speaking, but the view was all fucked because the room had a weird layout. All I could see was Queequeg's harpoon resting against the wall. He never goes anywhere without his harpoon. He never went. Yeah, let's keep it past tense. He never went anywhere without his harpoon. So he must have still been in the room. Oh no! What if he'd had a seizure? Wait, question mark, because it is a question, isn't it? What if that? What if seizure? Okay. Queequeg! Queequeg! All still. Something must have happened. Apoplexy! I tried to burst open the door, but it stubbornly resisted. Running downstairs, I quickly stated my suspicions to the first person I met, the chambermaid. La! La! She cried. I thought something must be the matter. I went to make his bed after breakfast, but the door was locked, and not a mouse to be heard, and it's been just so silent ever since. But I thought maybe you had both gone off and locked your luggage away in safekeeping. La! La! Ma! Mistress! Murder! Murder! Mrs. Hussey! Apoplexy! And with these cries, she ran towards the kitchen. I following.
Seems like a reasonable reaction.
I mean, yeah, we can just take all of that. What? Why does she keep going la?
I don't know. It's just an exclamation, I guess. It's an all-purpose exclamation.
I freaked out and tried to kick the door down. But it was
like
a really
stand-in
strong
for, like,
door.
Do you think all these things are just like 19th century novel inventions to replace actual like hard swearing?
Ooh! I think that's what it's for. Ooh! Like a little scream.
You don't think she's just like screaming fuck?
I feel like they would have executed her if she did that back in the day.
I think it just gets censored in novels. I think it was all going on.
It's all going on outside the page.
Yeah.
I freaked out and tried to kick the door down, but it was a really strong door. So I tried one more time and then gave up to try and find help. He was in more of a panic, wasn't he? Oh wait, first he goes queek quack queek quack.
He runs downstairs.
I don't think we do need to shout queek quack queek quack. We'd already arrived at the... He's had a seizure!
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right. I ran downstairs and yelled my theory at the first person I saw. Wait. Just get a quick little semicolon in there. The chambermaid.
And then you've just got to keep this the same, I guess, haven't you?
She didn't take it calmly. She cried, I thought something must be the matter. I went off to make the bed after breakfast and the door was locked. Not a mouse to be heard. I thought maybe you're both gone off and let your baggage safekeeping. My mistress murder, Mrs. Hussey, apoplexy.
I like Emma's interpretation, which is just holy fuck. I think that's a reasonable reaction to what's happening.
She ran off towards the kitchen, and I followed. Okay.
Okay. It's me.
Yeah, it is.
Hussey soon appeared with a mustard pot in one hand and a vinegar cruet in the other. They're going to eat him. Just thrown away from the occupation of attending to the casters and holding her little
Scolding.
Scolding her little, even worse, scolding her little black boy meantime.
Is that his name? What is happening here?
I don't understand.
Let's ignore that part.
Okay, yeah. What? I feel like we've just stumbled in on something we shouldn't have seen.
Mrs. Hussey soon appeared with a mustard pot in one hand and a vinegar cruet in the other. I hoped that she didn't plan to eat my friend. But when you live by the cannibalism, maybe dying by the cannibalism was the fair outcome. Just because we do not know what the fuck the rest of that paragraph's about.
No.
Woodhouse! Cried I. Which way to it? Run, for God's sake, and fetch something to pry open the door! The axe! The axe! He's had a stroke! Depend upon it! And so saying, I was unmethodically rushing upstairs again, empty-handed. When Mrs. Hussey interposed the mustard pot and vinegar cruet and the entire caster of her countenance. Oh my god.
Yeah, do you want to keep going with this bit?
Let me just get this part in.
Okay.
All right, yeah. But still, I'd always been a quick and calm thinker in a crisis. Woodhouse, blah, 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 blah. Run, for God's sake. Yep. And with that, I ran back upstairs, empty-handed. Okay, and we'll read through to the end of this bit, I guess.
Yeah, do you want to be Ishmael for this bit? Or...
Yeah, okay.
Okay. What's the matter with you, young man?
Get the axe, for God's sake! Run for the doctor, someone, while I pry it open!
Look here, said the landlady, quickly putting down the vinegar cruet so as to have one hand free. Look here, what are you talking about, prying open any of my doors? With that, she seized my arm. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, shipmate?
In his car?
Finally somebody asking the big questions.
I think we can just dump this in, to be honest.
I reckon so. Okay.
Empty-handed. Wait, there was a bit more I needed to get here. She interposed the mustard pot and vinegar cruet in the entire castor of her countenance.
I
What?
think she turned up, and by the way, she was still carrying mustard and vinegar. I don't know why.
She interposed. Oh, she just, with all of herself, gets in his way.
Yeah.
All right. Mrs. Hussey was fast, though. She blocked me on the stairs. And, wait, does she say or he say? Yeah.
What?
She blocked me on the stairs and said, "What's the matter with you, young man?" Get the axe, for God's sake, run for the doctor, someone, while I pry it open. Look here, said the landlady. What's the matter? What's the matter with you? Hey, what's the matter with you? In as calm but rapid a manner as possible, I gave her to understand the whole case. Unconsciously clapping the vinegar cruet to one side of her nose, she ruminated for an instant, then exclaimed, "No, I haven't seen it since I put it there." Running to a little closet under the landing of the stairs, she glanced in, and returning, told me that Queequeg's harpoon was missing. "He's killed himself!" she cried. "It's unfortunate Stig's done over again. There goes another counterpane. God pity his poor mother. It will be the ruin of my house, as this poor lad a sister. Where's that girl there, Betty? Go to Snarls the painter and tell him to paint me a sign with 'No suicides permitted here' and 'No smoking in the parlor.' Might as well kill two birds at once. Kill! Ah, the Lord be merciful to his ghost. What's that noise there, you young man? Avast there!"
Well, that's all pretty self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like her sign plan. This is very practical.
She's great. All business.
Yeah.
I explained what was the matter with me. At least on this occasion. "No, I ain't..." Okay, yeah. Her face dropped. "No, I ain't seen it since I put it there. Ba, 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 ba." Okay, cool. Avast there. And running up after me, she caught me as I was again trying to force open the door. I mean, that's just fine. That works.
Pretty good.
Alright, I think you take this one.
Sure. "I don't allow it. I won't have my premises spoiled. Go for the locksmith. There's one about a mile from here. But avast!" Putting her hand in her side pocket. "Here's a key that'll fit, I guess. Let's see." And with that, she turned it in the lock. But alas, Queequeg's supplemental bolt remained drawn within.
Okay. I mean, this bit all just works. That sounds like we wrote that.
It's just turned body, yeah.
I guess we'll see. It didn't
I don't
work.
know. I'm not a locksmith. I've got this key. It fits perfectly into this lock. Don't ask me what's going to happen next.
We saw. It didn't. Yeah, that works.
Do you think this whole thing is one of those videos where people start worrying about their friend trapped in a room? You won't believe what happens next.
This could easily be a Jake Paul tier YouTube prank that Queequeg is running.
Oh man, that's his game. The whole of Moby Dick is just a massive prank pulled by Queequeg.
It'd be a bloody good prank, from what I've seen so far.
Especially
I bet
if
he
it's
doesn't even eat people.
Yeah, well, that would be the first thing, wouldn't it?
Have to burst it open,
Said I, and was running down the entry a little for a good start when the landlady caught me, again vowing I should not break down her premises, but I tore from her, and with a sudden bodily rush dashed myself full against the mark.
Whoa. I do like that he's like, I'm going to run with all my might. And she just grabs him.
have to bust it open.
Alright,
Okay.
I ran back down the corridor to get myself a run-up. And then run up I did, with all the might my legs could muster. I barreled down the hall to smash that door off its hinges. The landlady caught me though and went, "Don't smash up my place." Hey. But I wriggled out of her grip like... What's someone wriggling out of someone's grip like, Andy?
Like a crab wriggling out of a crab pot.
What?
I don't know.
Like
It's the
a,
first thing that came to mind.
like a dog wriggling out of being wet.
Eel. Oh.
Oh, yeah. Like... Oh, is it morays that the people
Like
have been
a-
posting
like-
videos of them coming onto land to eat off the ground?
Like an eel wriggling out of a crab pot and then onto land.
Like an eel wriggling out of a crab. No, the image doesn't fit. Because
With
the
a
pot,
mouthful of crabs. Just that-
I think just like an eel works.
yeah, like
Like
an
an
eel.
eel. An eel with... Oh, an L? An eel with legs, big shoulders, and a friend trapped in a room who needed help. I smashed my entire body into that door and fucked it right off the... right out of its frame.
I think that's covering the next chapter as well, but that's fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. With a prodigious noise, the door flew open. The knob slamming against the wall sent the plaster to the ceiling, and there, good heavens, there sat Queequeg, altogether cool and self-collected, right in the middle of the room, squatting on his hams and holding Yojo on top of his head. He looked neither one way nor the other way, but sat like a carved image, with scarce a sign of active life.
Wow, this is a good prank.
And smashed, yep, 9 time on it. Alright. Everything about the door exploded everywhere that could be exploded into. And I flopped to the ground and clapped my eyes on my good friend Queequeg. He was sat bolt upright, looking really quite calm, to be honest. Yojo was fucking out. Yojo was balanced on his head, and he was. Yojo was balanced on his head. What else is there to cover on that?
Yeah. And then he's sitting very still, but I think you covered that.
Yeah. Looking really quite calm. Yojo was balanced on his head. He wasn't moving. Neither of them were moving at all. Neither of them were moving.
Queequeg, I said. Queequeg, what's the matter with you?
He ain't been a sitting so all day, has he? Said the landlady.
But all we said, not a word we could drag out of him. I almost felt like pushing him over so as to change his position. For it was almost intolerable. It looked so painfully and unnaturally constrained, especially as in all probability he had been sitting for upwards of 8 to 10 hours, going 2 without his regular meals. I mean, that's all just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Hussey. Which one do you want to be, actually? Actually, it's not sorry, it's not a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take this for a bit.
Okay. Mrs. Hussey, said I. He's alive at all events, so leave us if you please, and I will see to this strange affair myself. Closing the door upon the landlady, I endeavoured to prevail upon Queequeg to take a chair, but in vain. There he sat, and all he could do for all my polite airs and blandishments. He would not move a peg, nor say a single word, nor even look at me, nor notice my presence in the slightest way. Oh, this is a nightmare for Ishmael, isn't it? It's like, I got right in his face, I stared at him, I tried jokes, none of it worked.
Okay, so we can just take that speech, that's fine. And then
Yeah.
I did my best to fix him. I offered him a chair. I said his name a bunch. What else did he do? I take a chair. He just keeps sitting down. Okay, yeah, he just doesn't move. Said his name a bunch. I got right up in his face, but he didn't move a muscle. He just sat there. It was infuriating. He would not notice. Yeah, I think we just covered that. I wonder, thought I, if this can possibly be a part of his Ramadan. Do they fast on their hams that way in his native island? It must be so. Yes, it's part of his creed, I suppose. Well then, let him rest. He'll get up sooner or later, no doubt. It can't last forever, thank God. And his Ramadan only comes once a year. And I don't believe it's very punctual then. Just made all this fuss for fucking nothing.
Yeah. So I like the conversation that morning was, yeah, don't worry about me for a bit, Ishmael. I'm going to be having like this important religious day to myself. Flash forward to that evening.
He must be done by now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All
Okay.
things considered, I figured that this was probably all part of his fasting thing and all part of his plan. Ah, well. I tried to be a good friend and succeeded I think. It's good to look after your buds. I decided to head down and get some food. Is that more or less it?
I don't think he says he's going to go get some food.
Okay. Oh, no, he doesn't.
I think that
Oh, no, he
was-
says I went down to supper.
That's the next paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on.
I thought you were just projecting.
Oh, no, no.
You had a good lunch.
I had quite a good lunch. I went to the burger van again.
Oh, nice.
Tried to be a good friend and succeeded. I think it's good to look after your buds. Anyway, this fasting thing apparently only comes once a year. And even if I don't understand it, that's not many days of the year to be confused and angered by the activity.
Well, don't speak too soon, because the next paragraph is going to take some of that back.
Oh, okay. Alright, because once a year, and even if I don't understand it, once a year? Okay, yeah. Once a year. And even then, it's not like a punctual thing. Can't be that serious, really. Right.
Okay. Is it me?
Can
Can be. You've done a load.
Okay.
I went down to supper. After sitting a long time listening to the long stories of some sailors who had just come from a plum pudding voyage, as
What?
they called it. That is, a short whaling voyage in a schooner or brig, confined to the north of the line in the Atlantic Ocean only. After listening to these plum puddingers till nearly 11 o'clock, I went upstairs to go to bed, feeling quite sure by this time Queequeg must certainly have brought his Ramadan to a termination. But no, there he was, just where I'd left him. He had not stirred an inch. I began to grow vexed with him. It seemed so downright senseless and insane to be sitting there all day and half the night on his hams in a cold room, holding a piece of wood on his head. And I'll just do the dialogue because it fits with all this anyway.
Yeah.
For heaven's sake, Queequeg, get up and shake yourself. Get up and have some supper. You'll starve. You'll kill yourself, Queequeg. But not a word did he reply.
Okay.
So yeah, there goes all of his tolerance. That brief flicker of reasonableness.
Yeah. Alright. Caps lock. I went downstairs to get some supper. And while I was there, I spoke to some whalers. Except they weren't called whalers. Despite doing whaling, they were called plum puddingers. Which is odd, but you can't call those sorts of things out if you want to fit in. So I just sat and listened to their tales of hunting for plum pudding brackets whales, and eventually headed back up to bed and Queequeg. Surely his weird trance thing must have been over by now. It was not. He was still bloody sat there in the middle of the bloody room. Not moving a muscle. With a stupid fucking statue on his head. Like an idiot. Not even blinking or opening his eyes. Nah, just like an idiot. I began to grow vexed with him. It seemed so downright senseless and insane to be sitting there all day and half the night on his hams. What? I've got to take out the part about hams.
Yeah.
No one's going to know what your hams are.
Have you got rid of all the hams up until this point?
We're hamless right now.
Excellent.
For heaven's sake, Queequeg, get up and shake yourself. Get up and have some supper. You're starved. You're killing yourself, Queequeg.
Excellent.
How far off the end are we?
A little bit.
We've been going for an hour and 15. Do you think we two-part split this, or do you think we forge on?
I'm easy. It's whatever you think you're for. We did do a long recap.
We had
that was
a
a very long
fucking
chapter
long
right at the
recap.
start. I quite like doing the recap at the start, though.
Me too.
I think that's a good system.
I reckon we split this, you know.
Gives time for people to log on, like,
does.
subscribe.
Yeah. I reckon we call it here, you know.
I think that's a good place, a good cliffhanger.
I'm going for a fair little bit.
Is Queequeg ever going to open his eyes again?
No. This is how he drowns. Israel tries to wake him up. I throw him in the sea. It wouldn't surprise me. He just wants to help. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's pretty good. As a review of a chapter, what do we think? Is this a favourite? Is this a good one?
I'm very much enjoying this. They just went full Faulty Towers with it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's in store for the rest of the book, but I really feel like this is a comedy, and I want someone to make a comedy adaptation of this because it's fucking hilarious.
There is a lot of funny stuff. I like that he spent so much time setting up the fact that the landlady was carrying around some vinegar just so that he could say that she accidentally scratched her nose with a vinegar bottle. That's the kind of comedy we're here for.
I completely missed that part.
He mentions it like 3 times, and then, yeah.
I thought she was just carrying all this shit with her.
Well,
That's
she is.
what made it. Carrying the vinegar bottle, the mustard, and that bloody look on her face.
Whoa!
Basically how it came across.
It's like carrying lots of stuff. Does that equal comedy as well? So it's just having
Yeah. Flustered. It's physical comedy. If someone's got to carry a lot of things, that's funny.
Yeah, true. Oh, wait!
It's a sad rule of comedy. I'm sorry.
Wait until everybody's got their hands full of whale blubber later in the book.
Yeah.
Spermaceti.
Oh yeah. Spermaceti just sounds weird. I don't like that word.
Oh well, you're in for a bad time, I'm afraid.
I probably am, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what you've signed up for.
I hope I get paid 300th of a share. Or however
Speaking
maths
of which,
works.
Do we feel we're getting closer to getting a 0.3% of a share of advertising?
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, Andy, but today I've been drinking Inch's cider because it was very cheap in our Tesco order.
It's cheap, but surely something cheap can't also be delicious.
No. It's not very nice. It
Advertised
tastes like
here.
Apple Tango. But it's not bad. Please give us money.
Please give us money in conclusion.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. I've got nothing to sign us off with. I didn't do much planning.
What about the song "When You're a Professional Pirate" from Muppets Treasure Island?
We can
I
pop
think
that on. That'll get us. No, that'll definitely get us demonetized. Actually.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, no, because I'm exporting these
Disney.
straight to YouTube. I'm not doing a local record. If we get muted on Twitch, we're fucked. All of the no people that watch this on YouTube. Sorry, I mean don't forget to like and subscribe. All those people.
Hi guys.
They're gonna have no audio, and honestly, I won't even check it because that's how I do. I'm a media professional.
We need a backup. We need a song out. Or is it just going to be ocean noises?
I think we just go for a classic ocean noises, you know? Bit of ocean noises. Maybe a bit of... Yeah, I don't know what to put on.
If only we could play Ocean Man without that getting muted
What's
as well.
Ocean Man?
Ocean Man by Ween.
I don't know that one.
It's a good song.
Can you sing it? And I'll fade us out.
Are you going to fade out to just me singing on my own?
Yes! I'll sing along. I don't know the words, but just give me which bits to sing.
Can't believe you don't know the song. It goes, Ocean Man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. And there's a bit of guitar.
Ocean Man.
His voyage to the corner of a globe is a real trip.
Keep going.
Man. Ocean Man.
Yeah! Ocean Man!
And there's a guitar solo.
Is it like that? Is it one of those, or is it more of a...
Yeah.
Because those are the two types of guitar solos. There's the fast technical ones. And then there's the ones where it's like, I'm a rock and roll guy. I don't need to know how to play.
The one where you get your solo face ready for that first string bend and you go. Those kind.
That's the type.
The two pillars of guitar solos.
Anyway, I've been on the fade out slide, so I think that's our closing.
Excellent.
I still need to make a closing picture. Actually, I need to redo all these graphics. That's what's keeping our audience away. We need to do market research. And we need to see what graphics people want to see. And I'm sorry, Andy, but that means we probably have to become VTubers.
Excellent. I suggested this and you shot me down last time.
I'll shoot as many VTubers as I need to. I find them really unsettling. I really do. And I will speak no more upont until we've been VTubularized.
But don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, please. It's really important that you don't forget to like and subscribe. Otherwise, how are we going to convince Inch's £1 a tin cider that they should give me £1 a tin that I drink?
Oh, God. No, that's not how we should do it.
What?
Just going to watch you kill yourself on stream.
Yes! Oh, it's a very good Elton John song where the chorus is, I think I'm gonna kill myself.
Whoa.
Maybe do a suicide. It's a very good song.
Oh. I mean, it was a different... He wrote the music and another guy wrote the lyrics. So do you think that was another guy just really wanted Elton John to sing those lyrics?
Sam, that cider cost £9 for 10, so it's less than £1.
Less than £1. Yes.
Oh, less than £1 for a drink you don't enjoy.
Yeah. Now we're printing money. Anyway, we should hop off. I'll see you later, Andy. Have you seen those new Sea of Thieves content?
Oh, is the yeah? I haven't got the update yet, but is it where you are Jack Sparrow?
You meet him, and it's really slow. And I've played through the first adventure, and I managed to glitch it instantly by some guy says, "You have to infiltrate the ship of the damned." And I was like, okay, well, I can see it just sailing straight past. So I did a 6-sword wave dash and just flew halfway across the map off a lighthouse and landed on it. And it's like, no, you're supposed to do puzzles first.
Oh, what?
I did a speedrun tech.
That is very Jack Sparrow, though, isn't it? It's like you break all the rules and you get the thing you want, and he's like, no, not that way.
So we... everyone got angry at me and made me wait. And then when they caught up, we did that job. And then we went and did the next mission, which just broke. Just the puzzle stopped working halfway through. That was really good.
Sounds great. Please sponsor us, Rare.
Please do, actually.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Pay me and I'll stop saying your game's broken. This is your final chance. Anyway, yeah, gonna go. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.